And I think we're back. It looks like we had some kind of Wi-Fi drop because we've been having some weather tonight. But you guys didn't miss very much. I'm just going through here and I am removing all of the processing that I have done on these channels. And we're going to leave the reverb alone for now, though we will probably switch the reverb generator. But there we go. You can hear that the drums are a lot. All right, and that's the kit without any reverb generation on it, which is kind of where we want things. But this is kind of one of my problems with Steven Slate. If you can see here, if we go in here to the mixer, I'm going to go ahead and put everything at 0 volume for now, but you can hear for yourself. It's really not terribly loud to begin with. And we go in here and we find our drum bus, which is right here. It looks like the drums are peaking right at around -13, which is really, really low. And this is why I am kind of getting very, very disenchanted with working with Steven Slate, because they just don't have enough volume out of the gate. So what I may do is I'm going to put them all at line level and see where we stand there. Oh, whoops, I don't want to mess the pan on anything. So that is everything at and you can see that it helps a little bit, but not very, very much. And that is is kind of why I resulted to just doing processing on these drums rather than doing volume adjustment, because I have no idea yeah, that's everything loaded. Um, so I don't want to try to move these drums over to GGD. I really don't want to. I don't want to put anybody through that again. That's a nightmare. Re-MIDI mapping everything. It is not fun, and honestly, the way this drum kit sounds is just fine. It's really just more of a volume issue. I should not have to be running all of these at line level to get them where they need to be. So I think what we're gonna do is some processing, and we're just gonna kind of start with kick and kind of do my more modern take, or at least what I've been doing as of late to get these sounding the way that they should, and go from there. So get ready to listen to the same exact drum beat on loop for a little bit. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to extend it through that section, just so it doesn't get too grating. And I kind of like I kind of like using that on kick drums just because it gives it a little bit more oomph. And that gives it a little bit more of a hit. And let's see. get that to right around -6. All right, now that kick is sounding pretty decent. So, and I'm more or less going to use the same exact chain on my snare here, but I'm going to change the settings quite substantially. Start by changing this to a snare preset. Go ahead and some high frequencies there that I don't want. I actually don't like what that particular distortion is doing to the snare. It's bringing up way too many high frequencies that I want, that I don't want. So maybe let's give the Manny's a shot, see how that does. And I like that even less. But we're just going to go back and use good old-fashioned. Alright, that's nowhere near as bad. Really, I should be distorting before limiting, but And just for context here, I am gonna all right, and with the reverb resimmed in there, that actually sounds pretty decent. But the big thing there is I don't want to mix with the reverb on because I would rather tailor the reverb to um, and those toms. All right, this is where things are going to get a little bit annoying because I need to isolate a couple. Go ahead and we're going to add the reverb back in there. All right, so that does not sound too bad. Let's see here. Go ahead and, you know what? It would probably be helpful if I just moved my mic channel all the way to the very top of the hierarchy so I don't have to scroll all the way back down every time I want to solo my microphone. All right, that sounds good enough for now. So And right now I just have the room mics kind of soloed out into their, and put them on a bus within a bus. And the reason that I'm doing that is that I'm going to do some affecting on these that are, I guess, gonna brighten up the symbols a little bit, and I'm gonna do something to control the wash, because I'm using a lot of crash right there, and they're kind of going a bit long. Thinking maybe the first thing that I want to experiment with is maybe gating them. Let's try to gate them and see what happens. And that's the problem with gating right there. Or at least doing them universally like that. So just do it the good old-fashioned way. Of course, I could also change those crashes to open hi-hats to make them a little less washy, and that may actually not be a bad idea. So maybe we can take a bar of this and let's listen to those two. Maybe. Maybe just make it a straight ride pattern and just have the crash on the first beat of every alternate. That might be the way I do it. Just control it through composition. Just be like, so that actually go ahead and delete that out. maybe leave those crashes the way that they are. That gives it a little bit of variation. And I'm going to take out all these right crashes right there too, because that's just a lot. Let's go ahead and looks like I just used a bunch of repeating sequences here, which I'm not surprised by. Seems like something I would do. Alright, let's listen to that sequence again. I kind of like that. It gives it some more variation anyways. And then alright, so let's listen to that whole section again. I'm going to go ahead and extend that into the fill, into the chorus section. And I am going to go ahead and okay, and from what I am seeing here, I think that's, from a compositional standpoint, that's actually a lot better. So and as you can hear, now that we've brought that we've done some processing on the kick snare and tom, that what is really going on is there is no more oomph left to the overheads. So what we're going to do here only things that I'm really going to do here Okay. Sorry about that. It appears that my crosswatch on Twitch got into the. All right, and let's add the full band back into the mix. And first things first. All right, so the big thing here at this point, these are all pretty well blended. So So that actually doesn't sound too bad. Well, let's back. There, now that snare actually seems like it has some presence to it with it. Wow, that splash has got some volume to it. That really has some volume to it. Wow. Good Lord. It's rare that I use a splash symbol on anything to begin with. Okay, I'm gonna take the drum processing kind of to the final level here, because we're still, like, now the crashes are just getting completely washed out of the mix. And that's probably got something to do with it. So, why don't we... Alright, that sounds a lot better. Whew. So... actually sounds pretty intense. I can work with that. All right, so the next thing that I want to since we've kind of got the drums somewhat straight, what I would like to try to do here is work on this reverb generation because I am not happy with this. And let's see how I'm doing things. Okay, so I've got post pan. Let's do post effects on the kick. Wow, that's got some thunder to it. But the first thing that we're going to do here, some things that I have learned about reverb over the years. Number one, that is not the best reverb generator that is in my collection. So why don't we grab this guy instead? So, one of the things that we are going to have to do when we get into kind of a final mix, like, we're going to go back and play this section again. I don't know if you hear it or not, so I'm going to play it once through, and then I'm going to kind of stop and tell you guys what I'm hearing. Should hear it right when we transition into that pre-chorus right there. Suddenly, despite the fact that the same amount of reverb is generating, and let me switch over to this capture right here, it is getting overpowered by all of the other instruments. So what I'm going to have to do is program some automation to actually turn the output of it up, and I'll kind of simulate, because you can hear it in the first part, but in the second verse, you can hear the stereo separation, or the kind of space that the reverb there is kind of filling, and it actually feels to be a bit much. So I might end up dialing it down from this right here and maybe starting it about right here. So let's see here. Kind of like that, and turn up the output on it a little bit so it doesn't suddenly feel like it gets all sucked in and it's back to these really dry instruments. That way it sounds consistent, but we could do that now if we wanted to, but I am not going to quite yet, because there is still a few other things that I want to do as a whole, because then I want to not that. Whoops. Put the wrong plugin on there. Ooh, listen to that thunder at the when we kill it. I meant to put that right here. So. I forgot to reset the reverb generator. Yeah, let's get that back to maybe about right there. Shouldn't need much more limiting than that. That should be fine. We can leave the ceiling where it is for now. What I kind of would like to do here. Let's go ahead and add this. basically, all I'm doing, this is just a saturator. And all this is doing is kind of adding a distortion to the overall kit to make it feel a little bit more. You can kind of hear it taking all that out. And I'm sure that you can hear there that it kind of adds a little bit of distortion, or it brings the volume up on everything. So it brings your highs up a lot more than your lows from what I was hearing. So what I did was I just backed the entire group of room mics off about 3 dB. So they sound a bit more. So you can kind of hear that it's the snap on the cymbals is a lot more controlled, and that is ultimately what I was looking for. Thank you, years of experience, and the couple of producers that do this professionally that have been nice enough to give me notes and tell me how to deal with some of these things. So the last thing I'm going to do here, because I don't really hear anything from an EQ perspective, and really on the master bus, I'm not just there's better ways to handle it than that. But I'm going to kind of do what would be a master compression just to give the drums a little bit more glue. We're going to start about right here, and what I'm aiming for is about 2 dB of compression. So what I'm going to want is for this needle to kind of hit this point without exceeding it. And as you can see right now, it's kind of giving us about 6 dBs of compression, which is a bit much. It's probably at this point hitting a little bit above. So I'm going to try to get my vocals up just a little bit. Yeah, that's a lot better. But that should keep the drum bus nice and compressed. And I'm going to kind of watch this group right here, see where it's hitting at, and then we'll do some final volume adjusting. But those drums now have a lot more character than they did before. And that's the important thing. And I am going to take a short break. I will be right back. And I am back. Should have called this episode, I don't know, maybe don't get into tech support for a living. Because people will call you asking questions on how to fix things in the middle of your live stream. But it was my dad's, so shout out to Brick, as so many of you know him. And he needed access to the Netflix family plan that, for whatever reason, decided to unregister his device. But we got it worked out. So, anyways, let's get back to this. I think the next thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and do this reverb automation. But I kind of want to figure out where my levels need to be. So. As you guys can see, I just kind of clicked in here. I found the Manny's Reverb plugin that we're using there, and I set an automation to the output there. So what we'll do, add a point here and a point here, and this is going to be the point that we control here. So. So, let's start from about right here at the beginning of verse 2. Oh, my mic is falling over. And we're going to see if that reverb level doesn't just suddenly bottom out like it has been doing. It should be about right, but we're going to see. Here we go. We're going to let it play through the chorus too, because I want to make sure that the drums stay consistent through there, and we haven't really checked it yet. So let's go ahead and do that. But so far, I like the excitement more in the drums than what was there previously. not realize before, but I had a volume automation on the snare that should not have been there, and it was probably just left over from the old mix before we decided to get in here and start playing around. Let's listen to that one more time, because there was a few things that were not quite sounding right to me. Okay, actually, that ended up being pretty good, but the one thing you'll notice is that the reverb generation, once again, will need to be adjusted there at the chorus, unless I decide I'm going to go through with doing a string arrangement there, because mostly what was drowning that out was the strings coming in, or at least it appears that way. That's kind of what it seems like. So when the strings drop back out, suddenly the snare seems way too big for the rest of the mix. But if I go through with doing a string arrangement over the chorus, which I am fairly certain I'm going to end up doing, I may not have to do another adjustment there, but I guess the other big thing here is this section of the song right here, which has got stuff that there's going to be there's going to be a lead guitar over that eventually. I still have no idea what I'm going to put there. Actually, let's go and kind of go back and listen to this whole section right here. Give you guys an idea of what I am going for here. Jesus Christ, boy, who taught you how to program a snare roll? Let's go ahead and grab these center rolls and those are way, way too loud. Oof. I probably will have to. Let's go ahead and fix all of those. That is just. That's about the right full lot. This is not advised, by the way. This is what happens when you are mixing things on the fly. And you end up in these fun little situations like this. Oh, whoops. No. Let's grab those centers and drag them down, because we really do not want them sounding like somebody is firing an automatic weapon. We want them to add emphasis. All right, so let's listen to this section again. All right, a lot better. But yes, it is generally advised that you should do your editing before you even get into mixing. But given that I am a big rule breaker, I did not do that. But let's kind of go back and listen to the first half of this and see how it's standing. I'm still thinking that maybe there's too much high end in the acoustic guitars, and that may be the next time we go into working on this song, which will probably be next Tuesday. And probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate between projects and do this one on Tuesdays and then do the other one that we've been working on Fridays. That way I've got two projects in production at all times. Yeah. So let's give it a listen. So it is still feeling to me. So we've still got a little bit of a balancing issue. got more balancing issues here. And this is why we may end up getting into completely reprocessing the because right now big thing I'm noticing is that the bass is just extremely flat on this. There, that feels a little bit brighter. So So, there's one more thing I want to check tonight before I call this an episode. All right. All right. All right. There's going to be some drum fixes that need to be done there because those cymbals are overpowering yet again. What are we using here? And I am hearing things from a compositional standpoint. That is way too mid-range and way too bass. There's like no lift to it, but I have some ideas for that. So we might even get into some composition on this next week too, because I've still got string sections that I need to build. I've got piano section that needs to be built, but that's pretty brief, and I already know what I'm going to do there. But like, there's just no high end into this. I'm gonna turn the mastering on real quick, which this should be an interesting experiment. I apologize in advance. This might make things sound terrible, but the mastering actually takes some of the volume out, so kind of makes me wonder what in the hell I did here. From the looks of it, I did a really, really, really bad job, but hey, tape saturation, right? Okay, so I think that's going to be it for tonight. Join me again Friday evening, 8 to 10, maybe 8:30, depends on whether or not I can get everything up and going right the first time for once. But such is the life of an IT guy that moonlights as a studio producer. So, um, anyways, for everybody that joined tonight, thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Do me a favor, hit either the follow or the subscribe button, depending on what platform you are watching this from. I would greatly appreciate it, and tune in on Friday night. See ya.